All right.
Hello, 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 hello. It is Monday, and we are here to do it again. I told you all that this week I wanted to do a panel. So I am doing just that. I'm doing a panel, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. You all remember Miss Hodge from last week. this week,
Hello.
this week, Miss Les Story is on with us. I'm going to
Hello.
go ahead and let you, Miss Hodge. Can you go ahead and reintroduce yourself for us?
Yes, I am Kathy Hodge. I'm a director of a Head Start center located in North Carolina.
Have Miss Reeves.
I am Tori Reeves. I am a lead preschool teacher for the 3-year-old classroom at a small center in North Carolina, Concord.
Good job, good job. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. Okay, so we all seen the video. We've seen the video. We've seen the video of the young man. I think it was a graduation ceremony for his class, looks like to me. Um, and to me, the only thing the lady did was say boys and girls, and he just wasn't having it. He was not here for that entry. Maybe she should have tried another one, but he was not here for that entry. So tell Miss Hodge, tell me what you think about the video. Go ahead. I think she's frozen. Go ahead, let Story. Tell us.
Well, the video, the little boy, obviously, first of all, I think little kids mimic their role models. So he heard
Mhm.
that language and seen somebody act like that before. And for him to just blurt out like that and just be okay when all the adults was like, hey, he's comfortable doing it. He do it all the time. And they have to let him know that that's not okay.
Okay, I agree. Here's Miss Ford. Go ahead. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you.
My name is Latanya Yates Ford, and I am a principal at an elementary school in the Florence School District.
Thank you all. So you all, I am excited about tonight. We're going to dive back into it in a minute, but I'm excited about tonight because my panel is all women. And not only are they all women, they are all women that are doing great things. They they are thriving in the education field, and they're just doing it, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the funny thing is that I reached out to the males that I know, didn't work out, but just like always, the women came through. The women came through. Um, Miss Ford. Okay, I know I got to get people shirts. I got to get people shirts. Miss Ford. So you watched the video. What are your thoughts on the video?
Ooh. As an educator, I think that this behavior is not something new. I think that this behavior has been seen before, and so I just wonder what strategies were implemented to make certain that he does not behave that way.
Mhm.
Because it says, "Oh yeah, you gotta go." So, and the young man using profanity, oh, it's a lot. Um, because is he a 5K baby?
I don't know. I know it was a young graduation, so I probably would have given him preschool. I mean, I'm sorry, pre-K. He looks like he was probably in a pre-K classroom.
Yeah. I just think that, ooh, a lot, but I'm gonna try to keep it. I'm gonna try to keep it professional. But like I said, I really think that this is a behavior that has been exhibited before,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is why he was seated where he was. So that
Mhm.
may have been a strategy that the teachers were trying to use because he was able to be quickly removed from the setting. But at the same time, removing him from the setting, how are we correcting the behavior?
Mhm.
Um, which moving him was right, but I would like to know, like, what do you do after you remove him? What's the next step?
Miss Hodge, what is your take from the video? You all, if you're on, please share the video. Please share the video. Miss Hodge, what is your take on it?
Well, when I actually watched the video, um, I felt like it was something that he learned from home. this has been exhibited at home. He heard somebody say these things. He didn't just come up with those things himself. So we have to be careful about and mindful about what we say around children. And he was very expressive. She said, "Good morning, boys and girls." And I guess he didn't want to hear it. And he said, "Shut the F up," you know? Um, and it was a lot. It was a lot. Um, yes, it was correct to remove him. After removing him, I would like to know also what happened. Was it his parent that removed him? But he didn't need to come back to that setting anymore. He had already did everything he needed to do. He wasn't interested in it. So, you know, but these things
Hey,
happen. Nothing new.
I agree. Hey everyone. Hey everyone. I see everyone commenting. Hey everyone. Thank you for joining. Please be sure to share the live. So when I saw it, I was floored. I just, of course, I know that it happens, but I was just like, he really told her to shut the F up. And then she asked him if he needed to be removed, and he said no B. And to know that he used the words in the right context and everything, like everything was correct, lets you know that he's heard this at home. Like he uses language at home, which speaks to the environment that we have to create for our children. It really speaks to that. And we have to know that we are their role models. They
Right.
are watching everything that we do. So my question to you all, and either one of y'all can take the ball when I ask this question, because everyone asked, what do you do after that? Tell me what you all would have done after that, after he has cursed out. Let me back up. What were some steps that you would have taken to prevent this, and what you would have done afterwards when he did it in class? I'm
To
sorry, at the
prevent,
ceremony.
well, for one, he needed to be removed because he was outrageous.
But after
After
you
this,
remove him,
what you think, Miss Hodge? I want to hear what you got to say.
I would have removed him myself, and I would have taken him aside and asked him, what's the problem? What's wrong? Why are you saying these type things? But I would have brought him back to the program. And I would have let him just sit beside me and talk to him. See, this is why you can't participate with your friends, because you chose to use bad language. That was not a good choice you made. Can you tell me why it wasn't a good choice? And, just try to find out what's really going on. And then if you notice, the parents knew, because they were already saying, "Oh no, that's not nice." So he didn't just start cursing. He's been doing it a while. He's been doing that a while.
What about you, Miss Ford? What would you have done once you removed him from the ceremony?
Again, coaching, the conversation piece. You have to, like Ms. Hodge was saying, you have to kind of get to the root issue of it. But I just don't know if conversation would be sufficient. I think I would have to have a conversation with the parent as well. So mommy, come over here. Let's do this together, because one, I want the parent to know that this isn't something that's happening here. This is something that they may be exposed to at home. And so how can we as a team address this? Because even though it may be something that's happening at home, regardless of a parent, because a parent will quickly say, or may quickly say, "Oh, I don't know where he got that from." No.
That's their favorite line.
Yeah. So let's be honest. Where did the child get it from? And what can we do about it? Because me talking to the child by myself, it really takes a team effort. I can have expectations in the building, but I need those expectations reiterated when they're home. Now, when you go, you remember how when we were raising our children, we would take them to the store, and before we would take them to the store, we're like, "Now look, don't you go in here, don't you touch nothing, don't you ask nothing, don't you ask," So we give you this rundown before you went in to make certain that you presented yourself the way we wanted you to present yourself. And so that's why I think it's important for there to be a connection between the home and school, so they'll know, so the child will know, hey, this isn't acceptable in school, but neither is it acceptable at home.
I agree, and I also agree with. I think the root of it is that he's done it before. That's something we all can agree on. He's done it before. So now I speak to the teachers, and if this was a school, I speak to the principal. If it was a child care center, I speak to the director, because I'm going to step into my director role. I would have went into that ceremony with him by me, because I know that the teacher is conducting the ceremony. So I had him with me, because this is what he does. I think that they gave him too much room when they know how he is. And childcare, if we know that this child is a biter, we keep this child near us. We keep him as close to us as we can, because we want to prevent those things from happening. I don't think they took enough to prevent him from doing that. And also, when it comes down to him doing that, being that we can agree that he's done it before, I would say that they should have had some consequences in line. Okay, graduation is Friday. If you do such and such, you won't be able to go, and have that conversation with mom and dad also. Mom, although we want him to participate, please understand, we don't want him to be left out, but we also cannot ruin the moment for everyone else. I don't think there were enough. And once again, they know that he was going to do it, because they were so quick to grab him. They knew what was going to happen. They were already on post. They were already on post to get him. So to me, it just speaks to the situation as a whole. So, Ms. Ford, being that you are a principal in a school, I want to know, what are some things that you do for your problem children? When you have problem children, what do you do?
Oh, we don't have problem children. What are you talking about?
No such thing as a bad child.
No such thing. First of all, I really stress, and I must say that my staff is phenomenal. We really push building relationships, getting to know children, teaching them what is expected from day one, and modeling for them, okay, when you do this, then this is going to be the result of what you're doing. And so just making certain that we do build that relationship with children, so they'll know that they can come to us when they become frustrated. And then you'll get to know what their triggers are. You'll be able to be more proactive than reactive, because again, like you said, there were some things that could have been put in place prior to the child coming in. But I think the biggest thing about dealing with children and grown people is relationships. What is it that person needs from you? And again, my staff is phenomenal with that. I have, some people that I have to, talk to, but you don't attack the children. You talk to them, because what we want to do is we don't want to punish children. We want to correct the behavior, because we don't want it to continue to manifest. So we want to build those relationships and talk to them beforehand. And like you say, it's a give and take. So today you did really well. So because you did well, I'm going to give you 5 minutes on the computer. Find out what it is that they actually like, and use that, for lack of a better word, for leverage. What is it that I can do to build that relationship, so that child will know, one, I love you, I care for you, but I'm not going to allow you to do what you think that you're going to do. We're going to be respectful. We're going to talk. And we have to teach that to our children. We have to model that. And so just making certain that in our classrooms, in our hallways, we model relationship. Talk to them during lunch. Don't sit over and talk to the grown folk. When we outside for recess, sit down beside them or run with them. Make certain that you have used every opportunity to build that relationship, so that they'll know, one, you care, and two, certain things just not gonna go.
I agree. And I want to go to Miss Lestori. Miss Lestori, we both have been in the classroom, and you're currently in the classroom. What are some rules that you have in your classroom to prevent things such as that? What are some of your classroom rules?
Well, first, if I have a child that I think will misbehave or do something, I always give them a chance to choose, because kids, they want to feel independent. They're already away from their mama. They're around all these other kids. They're around this adult. They want to feel independent, like I can do it. So one rule that I would say is just speak up. Tell me what you need. Talk to me. It's okay. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I say that to them all the time. If you don't like something, tell them you don't like it. And I always give them a choice before we do anything. If you act like this, A, B, and C gonna happen. Or if this happened, A, B, and then they feel comfortable to choose, like, okay, well, I'm gonna go this route because I reminded them. See what I'm saying?
I hear what she's saying. I'm not gonna comment yet. Go ahead, Miss Hodge. What are some measures you take at your center for problem children?
Well, I try to first talk with my teachers and build their confidence and explain to them about it. You know, you have to set your rules that will fit your classroom. Say, for instance, if the teacher knew that this program was going to take place, me personally, I would have asked my staff to start a month ahead of time and giving him instructions. Now, if you go into this program and you act like this, because I'm quite sure he's used profanity in the classroom before, if you correct it then you wouldn't have to worry about it when it comes to that program. So I try to talk to my teachers and let them, you know, like Ms. Ford said, they'd be proactive. If you can kind of foresee things, and you know, each teacher should know the children in their classrooms well enough to know, okay, well, little Bo or whatever his name is, he used profanity a lot. What are we going to do to help him get away from that and to make our program successful? Because it's really a reflection not only on the parents but the teacher as well. Because had she practiced with him ahead of time, I feel like he would have been prepared.
Right.
And you know, when it came to the program. So that's how I feel that I work with my teachers. We're always trying to be proactive.
And some kids need to be reminded, if you do this, this is going to happen. I need you to act this way so we can behave yourself for the program. Your parents going to be here. They're going to be seeing you. Don't you want them to see you succeed? You have to talk to them. They need to be reminded.
But also follow through. If you say that you're going to do something, if you're going to give a consequence, follow through.
Right.
If you say, I'm going to take 5 minutes of your recess, be intentional. Take the 5 minutes of the recess. Don't take all of it, but just take a few minutes of it. You know, just take a few minutes of it. And again, be consistent. Be consistent, be firm, and be fair. If it's wrong for one, it's wrong for all. If it's right for one, it's right for all. And like you said, just setting that expectation in the classroom up front and reminding that child over and over, okay, what do we say about using profanity in the classroom? How do we speak to one another? Like you said, ask probing questions and not, you know.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
And I think that we should have gave him a lead part. Make him feel
Give him something to do.
I agree.
I agree. Should have done that.
I
Because
agree.
he's expressive, but he can express himself not using profanity. He should have been the one up there greeting everyone.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's what he should have, you know, done throughout the whole program. Welcome to our program. I hope you enjoy. And then take little Johnny or little Billy away, because you don't know what he's going to say after that, you know. So let him be a helper.
I agree. Dr. Anthony says setting expectations is the key, and I agree with that. I have a lot of teachers that have joined in that work in both childcare and the school system. Please share some of the rules that are in your classroom so that we can talk about them. And thank you for joining. Setting expectations is the number one key. And we have to, for parents, I hope that video helped you understand that you are an important role. You have to make sure that you are in the child's life. You're doing what you need for the child. Because I asked someone to come on, and I want you all to elaborate on this also. When speaking with someone else I wanted to be on the panel, he said, and this may sound harsh, but it's the harsh reality. He said that is going to be the parent that when you call them, it's going to take them 3 hours to come get them. And they are not going to understand. They act like he doesn't do that, and it may
That
have
encourages that behavior. I'm sorry.
right. And I think that that's a problem that I have with a lot of things that I see on the internet as far as children. I believe that there's a time and a place for everything. And I believe that children should be children as long as they're able to be a child. Even and that's just what I believe. And I think of when I look at like the little kids dancing on Facebook and so forth and so on, that speaks to a child on another level that they aren't ready for. It exposes them to so many things that they just simply aren't ready for. Thank you everyone for coming in and joining in. But we have to make sure that we are preparing children for far more than what we see at that moment. Although it may be cute to us at that moment, I think we miss the part that little children grow up to be big children. And it's kind of tree when it's big as opposed to when it's a baby. I think a lot of people miss that. But we've given all of these by the book responses. Mothers that I have on here. If that was your child, what would you have done? What would you have
done? From day one, when I got to notice that my son was using profanity in the classroom, I feel like that would have been his last day using the profanity in that classroom, because I would have laid holy hands on him. Yes, I would have. But also, I want to go back to where you said that may have been the parent that probably would have took 3 hours. There are some parents out there, and there are some parents that would have been there immediately. You know,
yes.
So I say kudos to those parents, because you really do have some parents that are really concerned. Also on that take, he needs a little more attention. You know, you want to find out what's the problem. And like some people will look and say, oh, he was bad, he's rude, that's a bad little boy. But you got to understand, as parents, kids do not come here knowing a thing.
No.
The only thing they know is what we have taught, what they have seen in the household, you know. So we have to be careful. We have to be mindful of how we speak to these children. And sometimes, you know, that's all he may have heard. Get your A in there. Or he may have heard daddy said, shut the F up to his mom or boyfriend or girlfriend. You just never know. So, you know, you have to take a little extra time with those children. You really do.
I agree. Dr. Anthony said, believe it or not, children look for adults to follow through. If one fails to do that, the children automatically know that they are in charge. Children desire to be on their best behavior. However, some need that extra guidance or nurturing.
I agree.
I agree with that. And I also agree that children come into this world with a blank slate. I told someone that the other day. They come in with a blank slate and they only know what you teach them or what you expose them. That's all they know. So to a certain extent, we can't blame him, because that's what he know. That's what he know. Now, I'm not saying that he was right. I'm not saying he does not deserve consequences, because I also believe that you have to teach children. Although you say that at home, I need for you to know that that's not acceptable here. Whatever you want to do at home, but as for here, that's not what we allow. The parents are not involved or as active in making sure children know how to properly act in school or class settings. Some need guidance because it's not given at home. I agree. What were we going to? Someone was going to say something.
I was. And one thing we have to understand: no matter what we tell a child when they come into our schools, and they're being taught something differently or being allowed to do something differently at home, no man can serve two masters. So you have to understand, if I'm home and I'm being allowed to do these things, then when I go to school, you're just my teacher. If my mama and my daddy allowed me to do this, then what's going to happen? So it starts.
I have to agree. I have to disagree. I disagree.
Yeah, I don't agree.
I just wanted to get some people stirred up because we were just going about the book.
I disagree, because I have had children that will misbehave like no other at home. Mr. Clark is in the building. They would not do it. They will not do it. They just won't do it. Children are very, very smart. They're very, very smart. They know who they can play. They know that's even
They
if they
test their
have
limits.
yeah, if they have one parent who says yes and they know the other parent will say no, they're gonna run to that other parent. So I have to disagree. I have to disagree with that whole.
And I want you to. I want you to. It's a panel for discussion. So I want you to disagree because I disagreed with what I just said. Only part I don't disagree with is that no man can serve two masters. Exactly.
That's true.
It is true. It is true. I think that I want us to be real with ourselves in this environment because I'm gonna tell you something right now. If that was my censor and he did that, him and his parents would have been leaving, going home. That he can't spend the rest of the day here, and he's not invited back into the ceremony.
I wouldn't have brought it back to the ceremony.
I'm listening, Miss Ford.
I think that I would have allowed the child to go back into the ceremony. Yeah, I would have. After speaking with him, I would ask him now, again, back to what Ms. Reeves was saying about choice. Give the child a choice. Now, this is not acceptable behavior. This is my first time taking you out. If I have to take you out again, then I would ask for you and your parent to go ahead and vacate the premises. But, you know, I want people to have another chance. You know, sometimes you're
Me too.
You know,
that's how I am too. That's how I am.
Chance to redeem himself. You know.
Let me say something. Let me say something. This is how I feel about that because you know we can be pro-choice, we can be pro-chance, and I get it. And Miss Retha said not to finish cursing you out, meaning that she's not gonna let him back in. Just to finish cursing you out. But this is my thing. Even in life, in real life, there are certain things that, prime example, I've been arrested for an insurance lapse. Now, the police could have stopped me and said, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and let you go ahead and get some insurance on your car. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. He went ahead and he took me on in. There are certain things that you just can't get a pat on your back for. You can't do that. You can't, because now you're speaking to the other children. Okay, I can curse and get a little talk and come back in the ceremony.
I'm still an advocate for restoration. I think that, you know, we do have to. It doesn't necessarily teach the children that, but you bringing the child back in and they making a choice again, children are going to be like, well, now she let him come back versus, oh, he had to leave, blah, 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 blah. But just, there are some cops who would have stopped you, Mr. Clark, and would have given you another opportunity, you know? So I think it just depends on what is in the person as far as being a person that wants to restore
so
versus a person that wants to punish.
You have to know the children.
That's what I was about to say.
You have to know them.
The kids.
You have to get to know them.
But we've just said that this is a habitual offender.
Yep.
So if he's in the setting and he's doing it again, what are we trying to say? He's already had those chances.
One, you got to think about, well, me as a parent sitting there, I know my child cuss at the house. I do. Okay, I'm gonna just be the devil's advocate. I know my baby cuss at the house, and him being pulled out. Let's switch it to how do you think the parent felt? And we might say, oh, the parent shouldn't feel no kind of way because they know that's the kind of house they got. That's what they got going on. But even in knowing what you have going on, you're embarrassed by it because Tanya cussed at the house, but for Tanya to cuss in front of everybody else, I'm embarrassed. So I would like to bring the child back to restore the parent as well, you know, but also to give him the opportunity to get it right. But again, I do understand what you're saying. Life isn't like that but how much better could we have been if we were given those second chances or those third chances?
You can
Or
either
those
be somebody
chances.
blessing or lesson.
That's right. So sometimes you have to be a blessing and a lesson.
Miss Hodge has been over here on mute. She's holding. She's getting some things stirred up on the inside. So I want to hear this.
Well, I see where Miss Ford is coming from, her and Miss Reeves, but it's not ideal. The reason I say that, just today, I conducted my monthly fire drill. One of my classrooms, I have a teacher in there. She's a very soft-spoken teacher. And she was like, everybody just get in line, do this. And those kids almost ran into the street. One child caused about 3 other children to run into the street. And when I think about this little boy, if you allow him to stay in there, how many more are going to mock what they saw him do? So I say from the beginning, the teacher should know her pupils. She should know those children. And if she knows that he's an outspoken person and he may use profanity, give him something else to do to deter his mind from that, you know. And that would have never happened. We as educators have to see things afar off. And when you have Kathy in the classroom and Kathy will blurt out a curse word in a minute, change my vocabulary. Give me something else to say. Teach me something else. And I really believe if they would have given him a part in that, that would have never came out of him. Practice and consistency throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I like what you said about giving the child something else to do or give them more vocabulary. And I'm reminded of a high school experience that I was talking to someone about yesterday. And I was at the high school and I used profanity. Like I was like, I would say it. If I said it, I would say it. And so there was this one teacher, Miss June Odom. I respected her. There were other teachers that I felt like I could get away with saying stuff and I could get away with doing stuff, but I just knew that Miss June Odom was just not the one. Not that she was a quiet person, like she was a quiet spirit. She never raised her voice, she was just here. And one day, she caught me using profanity in her room. And she said, "LaTanya Yates." And I was like, "Ma'am." She said, you are way smarter than that. Why are you using profanity? Like, I'm not impressed. You're ignorant. You're showing your ignorance. I said, I ain't ignorant now. Hold up now. And she was like, but you are not expressing your intelligence because you're a smart girl. Use your vocabulary, not profanity. And so I was like, "Ooh, okay." So then I started studying words instead of saying your A. I said, "Put your posterior anatomy, blah, blah, blah." So she gave me, and so now I do have my friends say I talk with big vocabulary, but that conversation, she did not make me feel bad too much, but I did feel bad because I really had high respect for her. But she didn't embarrass me. She didn't make me to feel like what I was doing was just, I had no comeback for it. She gave me that opportunity and she gave me a tool to use. What are you going to do instead of that? And so, like Ms. Hodge says, use the child to do good versus just allowing the child to just continue in that. And I just wanted to share that. Shout out to Miss June Odom. I don't know where she at now. She might be married with children, but she really she really taught me that you can articulate yourself and you sound way more intelligent using vocabulary versus using profanity. So just
and that's my thing when I'm talking to kids. Instead of attacking them and letting them know don't do this and don't do that, ask them why and help them understand like that's not the right thing to do. Just talk to them. Once you get in their mind and you pluck their mind, they form a different respect for you other than attacking you. And like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I hear all of this and I agree with it. I agree with it 200%. But when do we enforce rules? When do we
Your first 6 weeks, that is your opportunity to
In
gain
the
your
beginning,
classroom.
you start off with the rules.
That is your opportunity to set the tone. And I do
Mhm.
want to say this. May I say this, please, sir? Dr. Anthony, I did mock drills with that classroom at least 3 times today. I actually went on my walkie-talkie and said classroom 4, fire drill. And we went through the whole process. We went outside and everything. I do want you to know I was taught by the best, Dr. A. Thank you.
So when they do not when they break the rules, what do? We've said all of this, we did all this redirecting, we did all of this talking, we did all this at the third. When are there consequences? When do you, Miss Hodge, Miss Ford, Miss Reeves, when are there consequences?
After the first
Well,
attempt.
after I've seen my teachers actually, they have done every measure there is to do. That child even came to my office. Then if it keeps escalating, then it's a time that I'm going to call the parents to come in and we need to have a conversation.
Mhm.
We need to find out how we can work together to correct this problem.
Okay, so after we've done that, we've talked to mom, we've met with the teachers, we've sat and talked with the child. Now this child is in the ceremony doing this. What do we do? Because understand that we all agreed that this has happened before. So once we get to this juncture, what do? We gonna pull them out again?
Pull them out of the ceremony?
Yes, and then allow him back in. I know pull him out, but then allow him back in. When does this child know that I can't do this? Because we keep saying talking, we keep saying doing this, that, and the third. When do he realize that, okay, I'm in trouble now because I did this?
Well, me personally, I would have never put the child back into the ceremony. Just like I said, they could have watched from the side and we would have, I would have had a conversation with this child. Now, say for instance, my school, Head Start, it's not like public school where you can just automatically put a child out of school, suspend them or whatever. You have to go through different measures. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those measures, it takes a lot before you can actually dismiss this child from that particular school. But you have to do all that you can. Right. You got to understand, you want to discipline this child, but you also want to save this child, because there are a lot of kids that get just pushed to the side or going through the system and they never get the help that they need. That's why we have disability and special needs, all different things, a behavior management team that comes in and will work with that child. You just don't want to just automatically just kick them out.
Listen, I am an advocate for working with them. I really am. I really, really am. And if anybody work with me, they know that. I just feel that there comes a time, and I agree with you. I agree with you that he would not have been back in the ceremony. Miss Ford and that story would have brought him back,
Yes.
Would have brought him back. However, I wouldn't have brought him back. There are some teachers at that school that were not in that ceremony. He would have been in that class until that ceremony finished. That's where he would have been, because we have to shame one and the rest of fear. You can't sit here and interrupt my program like that. I don't care if your mama's here. I don't care if your grandmother's here. I don't care if your granddaddy is here. They can go sit in the classroom with you, because you're not. First of all, that you just disrespecting my teacher, and that is a major no in my center. I'm not going to let anybody disrespect my teachers, not when they're here working as hard as they can. The only thing they said was, "Good morning, boys and girls." Shut the F up. I mean, it's just, you just don't do that. Now,
but Mr. Clark, this is not his first time. And I'm quite sure he's told her worse than that.
and I understand that. That's why I'm asking.
Well, it's the teacher's fault.
But this is what I'm asking.
Giving him room to do that. They should have, before time, they should have nipped it in the bud.
And I agree. I agree with you. But now that we are here, we are at this, and he has done it again.
He can no longer be part of the ceremony.
That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, he can no longer be a part of it.
No, Miss Ford is not on the boat with us. She's not on the boat with us.
I'm not gonna get on the boat. I'm not gonna get on the boat because, again, I am about restoring. I am. I'm gonna give him another chance, and yeah, if he does it again, yeah, okay. So then I'm gonna beckon for mommy. Mommy, come on and get him, because one, you know, like you're saying, what we have to understand is there had to be. I'm not getting on the boat. I'm not getting on the boat.
Friend, I'm gonna need you to get on this boat now, because you're thinking.
Because again, you got to think about. You don't have to think about, but in my mind, I'm thinking about the family. I'm thinking about the child and giving them that opportunity and pulling them aside and saying, hey, this is that. But I do agree that there could not have been consistency from day one when we talk about getting in, when we talk about going into assemblies. There should have been something set out. Okay, when we go to assemblies, we sit here, we do this, we do that, we do the other. We walk our children, we model it. But I'm not going to get on the boat, and I'm done with that. I'm putting him back in that building, and if he shamed me again, I'm going to beckon for mama, then we're going to leave. But I do want them to have the opportunity to experience and to be fair. I'm done. And I ain't getting on the boat.
Let's look at this comment. A lot of emphasis has been placed on how to respond to the child's behavior. However, what is the consideration for doing what is best for the other children?
For one, what is best for the other children is, in my scenario, when I said that I would bring the child back, one, that teaches a child not to cast a person off. And in the event you're having a bad day, I'm not going to cast you off because you're having a bad day, because everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a bad moment, and wish that they could do a do-over. So yes, I'm considering the other children as, for one, I'm modeling to them that I'm not going to cast you away because you're having a bad moment. But number two, if that child has been doing this all before, the children are already, and the teacher has set the tone for the other children not to respond, not to react, because there's some classrooms where you do have a child that goes through emotionally, and the children, because they are accustomed to it, they just sit there and look at them.
Right.
Or they go on about their business. But I am considering, because I'm showing them, one, again, that I'm going to give you another chance, because this may be you some other time. It may not be profanity, but it may be something else. You may get anxiety and nervous around lots of people. And so you might be the one that's standing up in front of the whole crowd and you forget your speech. And so what am I going to do? Just stand there and let you flounder like a fish? No, I'm going to go beside you and I'm going to say, okay, this is what you say. This is what you do.
Okay, I hear you. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you partially. And that's, once again, I'm just not on your boat. I'm not gonna get on your boat with that.
Exactly. Stay in the boat.
There's two boats out here, because I understand where Mr. Milton is coming from. At some point in time, we have to
give kids chances.
Yes, but we keep saying that. And unfortunately, life is not like that. Our goal is to prepare them for life. Life does not give you as many chances as you all keep giving. Miss Ford just said that, okay, I'm going to give him a chance, and I'm going to let him know that if he's having a bad day, we all want a chance to redo bad days. But there are plenty of times we can't redo our bad days. We can't redo the decisions that we made.
That's true.
We have to learn to live with and go on. We have to, this is me. This is my boat. I believe in teaching children or preparing children for life, both in school and out of school. And unfortunately, there are rare people like you and Miss Ford who's going to be this open to other second chances. That's rare. It's rare. It's so rare. So how do you? And then you can't. Once again, I agree with this. You can't go and cuss your boss out like that. You're going to be unemployed. Absolutely.
But now wait a minute. Let me say this. You have to learn to deal with people on their level. Mm-hmm. This child is pre-K 4, 5 years old. Of course, me at 46 years old, I dare not go and curse. Why? Because I have had time to mature. I have had time to learn. I have grown into some things. So, but now as a child, you cannot crush a child. You cannot crush a child.
Is it crushing?
No. Let me speak now, because I feel this now. I feel this. You cannot crush a child. And that is what, and I do understand your passion about teaching people real life. This is real life. I get it. But you have to give that child what he needs on his level.
That's right.
Right now, all he has and all he knows is shut the F up, no B. Why? Because that's what he has seen. So we have to give children a different view. And then they can choose what they're going to do. You cannot tell me that I should hold a 4K kid to the same standard as I would a 40-some-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 16-year-old. They are not there yet. Mm-hmm. And it is our responsibility to get them there. And we cannot crush children. Now, I'm done with that now.
Okay. Now, I agree with you. I'm going to go ahead, Ms. Hodge.
I agree with what Ms. Ford is saying, and I also agree with what Mr. Milton is saying. The thing about it is, if this were a 7th grader that I can talk to and redirect him, and they understand that if you go back out here again and use profanity, it's going to be extreme measures. A 4K year-old, a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, they're not going to understand that. I don't care how much you sit and talk to them. Why they don't understand it? Because the only thing is going to come out of that child is what's inside that child. So, yes, I will pull Kathy out. A 3 or 4-year-old, 5-year-old, I will pull them out of the program and we will have a talk. Kathy's not going back into the program. But if Kathy is old enough to understand, we're not doing this again. That's wrong. Then yes, I will give Kathy a second chance. But that 3-year-old, 4-year-old, no, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't.
How would the talk go with you, the 3-year-old, 4-year-old, when you pull them out?
Can I say something before you answer that? Okay. I think we're underestimating children.
Right.
Underestimating 3 and 4-year-olds. Let me tell you something. I have been with 3 and 4-year-olds that can stand up with you and have a conversation like they're your age. Mm-hmm. To say children are not our 3-year-old and 4-year-old. Children are a different ball game nowadays.
Some of them.
Womb can sit there and play with tablets and nowadays. And there's some 40-year-olds who don't even know how to operate a tablet. I think we're underestimating children. And I also think that what we are missing is that and I keep saying it, we said that this was a habitual offender. We said that. So, okay, we don't know, we're not going to send him to the employment office. He's only 4. However, we are going to send him to another classroom that is not a part of this program. And he's not going to be allowed back. It's not crushing him. It's building him. is teaching him that you cannot do this. So the problem is when we grow up, you want to know why we see so many people that don't know how to handle certain things, or they break down and do certain things, is because we did not prepare them when they were little. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do. This is a teachable moment. You can't stand up and cuss nobody out like that. Once again, you may do it with mama and daddy, but you're not going to do it here. You're not going to do it here. I don't think it's crushing him. I think that it's teaching him, which is what we were employed to do. We were employed to teach them, to educate them, to mold them, to build them. And their mind are sponges at 3 and 4. The truth of the matter is, once they get to Miss Ford's school, you're basically too late, because now you got to punch them and they and get it if they don't get it. But if you have a solid foundation, let me take that back. I'm not going to say that it's too late. You're going to have a difficult time to say that. But if they would have been taught that at a younger age, you can't curse at people like that, you can't use that type of language in this setting, I think that it would aid them. It would aid Miss Ford. If we do it at our level, when Miss Ford gets them, her job is a little bit easier.
I agree with that.
That's how I look at the situation. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. You're correcting problems that should have been corrected when they were little. But because people say that they're little, they'll grow out of it. Now you have a problem that you can't fix.
And I think that's the thing. We're not supposed to fix. We're not supposed to fix. We're supposed to inspire. We're supposed to encourage. We're supposed to motivate.
You can teach compassion.
You can.
And love and all that. And, you can teach that. Give it to the kid.
I didn't get the opportunity to teach you guys when I was at the middle school, but a lot of kids didn't want to come to my class
because they knew they had to follow rules.
Exactly.
And they knew they had to listen. You weren't crushing them.
No.
Preparing them.
But the thing about it is, and what I was saying about not letting a child go in and out was not the part that I was talking about crushing a child. What I was talking about was making certain that we are not addressing children. We are not addressing little people like we would address adolescents, like we would address adults, or like we would address teens. We have to meet the children on their level. Now, like you're saying, and that's why I say it is very important, the little teeny people, that we are meticulous on how we actually address things, because children are not the same. Like when I was growing up, it's a different ball game, and where an adult can say certain things to back in the day, they would say something negative to us. We'd be like, oh, whatever, you wrong. But some of our children today, it attaches to them and it stays with them and they can't shake it. And so we have to be mindful about our interaction with children. And again, not to crush them, give them, coach them, tell them what they're doing wrong. Because we're talking about being punitive to children for something that they are exposed to that they have no control over. So we have to be the people that make the difference. We have to show another way. That's all I want to say about it. We just have to show them another way.
Show them a different type of person.
They know, if that's all they know, that's all they can give. But also meet children where they are. What the words say? Be all things to all men. And if I have to come to you, I'm going to come to you how I need to come to you. I'm not going to talk to you on this high level beyond your understanding. I'm going to meet you right where you are. And that's what I was trying to express when I say not to crush children, but meet them where they are.
And maybe the way I said it, sorry for control, maybe the way I expressed it, it seemed as if I wasn't able to get on their level, because I do get on their level. I'm able to talk to little Elijah and understand what's going on with Elijah. But I also understand that once Elijah, prime example, the little boy's name was Elijah. misbehave, I'll give him maybe 4 days out of the week he would misbehave. He stayed at our office. I'm talking about childcare. Stayed at the front office. One day Elijah was at the front office. I looked around. Elijah was booty ball naked, just naked. Had him threw his clothes all down the back of the building. All just that he was through. And he told us he would not pick them up. I told him, I said, Elijah, you're going to pick up these clothes. Because if you don't pick up these clothes, Mr. Clark is not going to be happy with you. And understand that I'm calling your dad to come get you. He went. He sat there. He didn't pick them up. He said, Mr. Clark, can you get me this after you put your shoe on? And he went to do it. He started to put on his garment. But he still went home. I still sent him home. Because at the end of the day, although we say that, and I think that this is why so many teachers get frustrated, because it's easy for administrators to say, oh, let's do this inclusion plan. Let's do this, that, and the third. Let's do X, Y, Z, when they're not in the room putting up with it. And it does become hard when you have that child in that room disrupting your day and influencing other children. It becomes hard. Yes, ma'am.
I agree. However, there's such thing as classroom management. And there are such things as basic stuff that needs to be established by the teacher. When you call me into your classroom, you've lost power.
I agree. I say it all the time. I agree.
And when you are not consistent, I can't be mad at the principal when the principal asked me to follow PBIS expectations. Why? Because this is what has been presented from day one. We are going through a list. When they do it, get in close proximity of them. The next time they do it, correct them before they get into the door. The next time they do it, hey, I'm getting ready to call your mom. The next time you do it, hey, it's time for me to take some of your time. You taking my time, I'm gonna take your time. But the thing is being consistent. And we have to have classroom management, and we have to have it. And we have to have structures in place, and we have to be consistent with those structures. So we cannot be well, we can be, because that's all right. Offended. You mad because the principal asking you to follow PBIS. Yeah, you gotta follow PBIS, because I'm gonna go by the rule, and I'm going to discipline a child based upon the student code of conduct. And if you have not, the first contact to a parent about a child's misbehavior should never be me. It should never be me. I should never be the first person to call mama and say, Mama Tanya acting up today in school. When I call, I should say, hey, mommy, Mr. Clark had Tanya in his class. On October the 1st, she did XYZ. He stood beside her to redirect her. That is what I ask as an administrator. So that if you have what you have in place, I got your back. You don't have to worry about if they're going home, because they're going home, boo. Why? Because you've done everything that I've asked you to do to make certain that we can send them home. Because it is frustrating. I wrote a child up, y'all, back when I was in the classroom. I wrote a student up real good.
Real good.
Punctuations, commas, dots, everything. I wrote the student up. And when the child went to the principal told the child to come back to me and ask me to destroy the referral. But you did this. Well, I'm an honor student and I've never been written up before. Okay. So on Wednesday, when I told you to do so and so and so and so, you didn't do it. On Friday, so I went back through all these opportunities that I had given that person. So no, I am not going to take away my referral. But I learned from that. I lost power. Because first of all, your punishment is to stay in here with me anyway, because you don't want to be here.
You don't want to be
Sit on down. Sit on down, because you don't want to be here. But, just making certain, again, that teachers should not feel, and some do, not unsupported, you know. But at the same time, am I doing all that I need to do in my classroom to manage behaviors? Because that is a part of my contract. That's a basic thing that I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to be able to manage my class. I didn't say, be rude to kids, but I'm supposed to manage my class. I'm supposed to monitor behavior. I'm supposed to keep people safe. And to be upset with an administrator is unfair, especially if you haven't done your part.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question. This is going to be our final questions for the night, and I would like for everyone to comment on this. Do you think that you can teach classroom management, or do you think that it's something that someone has to have already?
I think you can teach strategies. I think you can model, but I also think that it is something that's innate. I wasn't a teacher. Teaching was not my first profession. I was in accounting, and coming into the classroom, I was a parent, you know. I was an adult and a parent coming from the business sector, and I knew, what I needed to do to prepare these middle school babies for beyond high school. Nobody came in and taught me how to manage children. It was something that I knew, but I also believe that we can teach strategies. And if a teacher takes what is taught or takes what is presented and put it into practice, they too can become a better manager of behavior, a better manager of children. So yes, it is innate for some of us, but then too, it can be taught. But what I find as an administrator, some may feel like I'm the teacher, they should just listen.
Mm-hmm.
No. But if you implement some of these strategies with the children, it'll make a difference. So to answer your question, yes, a part of it is innate, but also I can do some strategies. Like I had a teacher that was having some issues with some children. I was visiting a school, and I was like, when do you have these issues? Well, right after, listen, right after lunch. Okay, so what's happening? They're all over the place. They're this, they're that. So I told the teacher, I said, play some soft music.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say a word. Just play some soft music. And when the children come in, they're going to come in rowdy. They're going to come in loud. And all of a sudden, they're going to be like, oh, what's that? And they're going to automatically calm themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe, we can do strategies. We can teach people strategies, but we can't give them that mama mojo. But we can teach strategies.
What about you, Ms. Hodge?
I agree because I am there with one of my classrooms right now, and I've role modeled. I've actually taken over her class to give her strategies. I gave her a class management pamphlet to go by. But one thing that the teacher has to be receptive. Mm-hmm. If she's not receptive and she think that her way is right, but every day you have 4 or 5 incidents that is happening in your classroom, is something wrong. But they have to be receptive of the information given. And that young lady stood to my face and told me, you don't need to be in the office. You need to be in here. So it went over her head. It really went over her head. And from that point, I felt like, why? Why should I keep pouring myself out to her when she's not getting it? But once again, I believe that teachers really need to be teachers. And in that young man, the little boy that we was talking about, that could have been prevented. I really believe in my heart it could have been prevented. Thank you.
What about you, Les Torrey? Do you believe classroom management was something that you had, or it had to be taught to you?
I think it's something that I had, because when I first started, I came straight from Walmart. I was a manager. Only thing I knew was I love kids. I was like, I love these kids. I'm about to go in here. I'm about to love on them. They're going to respect me. And it was chaos. I started off too nice. And when you start off nice, it's hard. It's hard to get mean later on, or not mean, but stern. So I watched my the teacher at the time, because I was a co-teacher. I watched her and I see the things that she did and how the kids responded. All of them weren't good strategies, but I learned from that. So I think it can be taught, but you have to be a teacher. You have to want to learn. You have to watch small stuff, listen, just see how she interacted with the kids and how they responded to it. So I was taught it.
I agree. I agree with everyone. I think it is something that is innate, and I also think that it's something that can be taught if you want to be taught. If you want to be taught and you want your classroom to be better, it is something that you can definitely listen, learn, and apply, and it can work for you if you want it. But if you have that mentality that you already have it, they just not listening, they just bad, and so forth and so on, you never get it. You never get it because no one taught me. I came straight from Voorhees College into the classroom, and it just happened. I just knew that this was my classroom, and I was going to control this environment, and it was going to be loving, it was going to be fun, and it was going to be safe.
You
And
also have to allow yourself to learn from the children, because you can learn from it if you just listen to them and watch them.
Yeah, and also you take a little bit of everybody that has touched your life. You know your favorite teacher. You know how your mom would respond. So your style is a mixture, or can be a mixture of several different educators. Because I remember one, Miss Johnson, like, you ain't play with A. Johnson. Like, I was scared to do a presentation, and y'all know how mouthy I was. But when I look back at those teachers, I remember the ones that held me accountable. I remember the ones that I could get away with, and I didn't learn much. But those that would hold me accountable, I'm not going to be late to your class. I'm going to do my work, and I'm going to ask some questions because I want to. Because one, I know you're not going to put up with my junk. And so as an educator, you bring all of those experiences, and you kind of morph and you shape yourself into the type of educator you want to be. Just like as a principal, I've taken from different leaders different things that I wanted and shaped myself with the help of the good Lord into the leader that I think that teachers need.
Right.
Yeah. So
I agree. I agree with all of that, and it's true. I agree. Everything you use everything as a stepping stone, and you build as you go, and you come up with this amazing masterpiece. If it's in you, you really want to teach, you can do it. I want to thank you all for coming on the panel tonight. I will get Miss Ford and Miss Reeves a shirt. Please send me your shirt size. As a
right
gift.
now.
As a gift for being on the live, you all please share the live. It was a great live tonight. I look forward to seeing you all next week, Monday at 7 o'clock, the same time. Please on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. Thank you so much, and you all have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good night.